Hi, my name is Kara Vera. I will be presenting my lesson on phonics today. It's a first grade level and should take about 15 to 20 minutes in the classroom. My objective is to guide students in recognizing and reading grade appropriate irregularly spelled words. And my behavioral objective is that the learner will orally identify and read irregular words with 85% accuracy, and it addresses the Bloom's taxonomy guidelines of understanding. For my review, I will lead a warm-up with a word grid containing already learned words. And here's an example of the word grid. It has words like was, do, said, of, and to. And the technique that teachers use is they point the word and sweep under the word as they identify it. And as you can see, there's many, it's repetitive. So the second row is do, was, of, to, and said. So that way the students get a refresher on what we learned yesterday. And then after we worked with the word grid, I would ask two questions. I would say, who would like to come up to the smartboard, point to a word, and read it with the class? And this gives the student the opportunity to mimic the teacher and show that they know how to read the word while doing the technique. And then I would call on a student to use the word said in a sentence. Like, she said she had to go to the bathroom. And this would be an oral response assessment. It would be the whole class. And you would need a smartboard, a pointer, a ruler, and a word grid. And so next, the purpose of the lesson is when a student learns to read irregular words, they learn sounds and spellings that are unique to that word or a few words, advancing his or her skills. Some words aren't always irregular. Once students learn the combination of those two letters and how they sound, then some words become just a normal word as opposed to an irregular word. Yesterday, students practiced sounding out and reading words in the at family. Today, the learner will practice recognizing and reading irregular words, and tomorrow the learner will practice writing irregular words. Okay, so the motivation that I have is that I will present the irregular rainbow craft. So this is the rainbow craft that I have, that I made. And it introduces words that we had already had, and then it will also introduce words that we will have today. And for this, you can do it on, I made a hard copy, but you can do it on the smartboard. You would need a smartboard or Sharpie construction paper, and it's an oral response, the whole class. The students will help choose irregular sight words to place on a piece of rainbow for the bulletin board. So you could choose to do it digitally, or you could do it on a bulletin board in the classroom, and that way you could add words as the kids learned them. And so for the procedures, the first activity I chose to do was one that I found out of the teacher's source book. And first, I will pass out dry erase board and dry erase marker to each student, and then I will model how to do the activity. So I'll choose the word for that we learned yesterday as a review, and then I will give the instruction. I will write as for as big as I can on my board, so each student could participate. And you have the word written really large for the students to see, and then they can mimic you. And then you can also continue with the same word or switch to another word, and then you can have them write it in a different way, such as write the word in as small as you can. Just like that. And that way they feel that it increases class participation, and they're also getting the oral as well as the writing practice. So for my second activity, I will call the students over to the reading rug and prepare to read the story Birthday Hiccups. And this also includes comprehension questions, which can help with those skills. And this will introduce the new words to the students. Hooray! It was Henry's birthday and he could not wait to celebrate. But then Henry got a surprise. And then it has a predicting question. What do you think Henry's surprise might be? Uh-oh, Henry had the hiccups. And then there's a question here. Do you think Henry likes this surprise? Why or why not? Henry went to find his mother. She would know how to cure hiccups. Drink this big glass of water, she said. Henry drank the water but did not walk. But it did not work. Henry went to find his father. He would know how to cure the hiccups. Stand on your head, he said. Have you ever had the hiccups? How did you try to cure them? This gives the students an opportunity to share some of their personal experiences and make a connection to the real world. Henry stood on his head, but it did not work. He went to find his sister. She would know how to cure hiccups. Hold your breath and hop on one foot, she said. What is Henry's sister hiding under her pillow? Why? So this gives the opportunity for students to study the illustrations with the book as well. Henry held his breath and hopped on one foot, but it did not work. Henry went to find his grandma. She would know how to cure hiccups. Sit on the front steps, she said. Then put your hands on top of your head and sing a silly song for 20 minutes. Do you think this cure will work? Why or why not? Henry sat on the front steps. He put his hands on top of his head and sang a silly song for 20 minutes, but that did not work either. Henry was getting upset. This was no way to spend his birthday. He opened the door and went back inside. Close your eyes. What do you see happening when Henry goes inside? So it's also predicting as well as visualizing. Surprise! Shouted his family. Happy birthday! Henry was so shocked and he jumped high into the air. And then Henry got another surprise. His hiccups were gone. His family had scared them away just in time for cake. Yum, yum, yum. Who has the hiccups now? And so then it also has story questions at the back for another comprehension lesson later. So after introducing the book to the students, I would then read it again and highlight the irregular words such as birthday, mother, and water. So then, after reading birthday hiccups, we would do a review. Can anyone point out an irregular word on this page? Please sound out the blend if you are able, and please spell the word. So this gives the students an opportunity to identify the word as well as spell it and commit that to memory. So for the closure of the lesson, students will return to their desk and work with a partner to spell irregular words: mother, water, said, do, and are. So some of these are review words and some of them are new words that we learned today with magnetic letters. And this would be an observation assessment and as well as a whole class. And the assessment for the book was oral response and it would be whole class as well. So for early finishers, for homework, students will write 5 irregular spelling words in one sentence on lined paper provided by the teacher. So I just provide them with lined paper in order for them to write their letters correctly. And this would be a written response and it would also be a whole class. For early finishers, students will work with their word banks at their desk. Students practice by using finger tracking to read words. So the word bank is basically a zippered pocket in your binder, and they would have little rectangular cards such as these that are laminated in order for them to track with their finger: water, was, to, birthday, said, of. And then students with special needs will have extra practice. Students with a reading disability and English language learners will practice their word bank with their word bank and picture cards when applicable with a paraprofessional, such as they might have a picture of a mother or a birthday cake to help them to connect the two. And then for remediation, students who need remediation will gather in a small group. Each child will take turn in identifying the irregular word on the page while teacher reads it aloud. So I will then read again birthday hiccups. It will be oral response and it will be in a small group setting. And then it might help to finger track as I read. And for enrichment, students who need enrichment will attempt to spell tomorrow's words with a partner using the magnetic letters. So you would need the spelling words for tomorrow, the magnetic letters, and it would be oral response. Thank you.